Imagine deciding to eliminate one private, deeply ingrained habit for the next 30 days. No shortcuts, no excuses. You prepare yourself for a physical struggle, but your body isn't the target. You are stepping into a ring with a completely invisible opponent, your brain's deep conditioning for instant, frictionless rewards. Day 1 usually feels deceptively easy. You make the conscious decision to stop, and that initial commitment delivers a quick burst of motivation. Your physical routine hasn't registered the absence of dopamine yet, leaving you feeling entirely in command. But the true test of endurance is hiding just around the corner. Scaling a mountain or running a marathon requires extreme effort to do something difficult. Here, you need extraordinary mental stamina to simply not do something you've done automatically for years. By days 3 through 7, biological shock sets in. This standard reward cycle runs smoothly. Stopping creates a sudden gap. Your brain realizes its easiest dopamine source has vanished. In response, your mind aggressively negotiates to close the loop. It feeds you highly rational-sounding excuses. You'll hear thoughts telling you, just once won't hurt, or you can always restart tomorrow. Most people break their streak right here. They fail because they lack the awareness to recognize that these thoughts are automatic biological defense mechanisms, not genuine desires. Surviving this phase requires a specific mental tactic: the pause. When the rationalization hits, you stop. You observe the brain trying to trick you, and you intentionally delay your physical reaction. Successfully executing that delay breaks the autopilot. You force a wedge between the trigger and your action, allowing you to reclaim executive control over a primal impulse. Moving into week 2, spanning days 8 through 14, the landscape shifts. The persistent physical cravings recede, replaced by psychological triggers that ambush you in moments of vulnerability. You start to notice a stark reality about your previous behavior. You were rarely engaging in the habit out of a genuine pursuit of pleasure. You were using instant gratification as a highly effective escape mechanism. Without that immediate release valve, you are suddenly face to face with the negative states you've been masking. The triggers reveal themselves clearly: an impending deadline causing stress, an empty afternoon filled with boredom, or a quiet night amplifying loneliness. This creates an intense crucible. You are forced to sit with raw, uncomfortable emotions, and you have entirely removed your primary method for numbing them. Stripping away that instant gratification guarantees a violent confrontation with your true emotional state. Sitting through that discomfort without fleeing is the specific environment where genuine psychological growth occurs. By week 3, days 15 to 21, we need to address the internet myths. Stopping this habit does not grant you magical abilities, and you aren't going to suddenly develop superpowers. This graph tracks your dopamine system. The volatile spikes represent a brain heavily reliant on hyperstimulation. As you maintain the fast, those extreme highs and crushing lows gradually flatten out. Your overstimulated reward circuitry downregulates and finally returns to a healthy, predictable baseline. With that chemical stabilization comes highly measurable secondary effects. A regulated baseline yields a sustained capacity for deep focus and levels out your daily energy, eliminating the erratic afternoon crashes. You suddenly find yourself with a surplus of mental energy that was previously burned up fighting or feeding your urges. That exact energy naturally redirects into productive channels, like focused work, accelerated learning, and intense fitness. You haven't gained any new abilities. You have simply patched the massive leak that was quietly draining your natural potential every single week. Entering the final week, days 22 through 29, the biological impulses haven't vanished completely. They still surface, but their power has drastically shrunk when matched up against your newly hardened mental resistance. Think back to the exhausting start of the month, where you constantly reacted to every urge with white-knuckled panic. Now, an urge arrives, you observe it calmly, and you simply let it pass without engaging. The goal is no longer about maintaining a daily streak on a calendar. You are practicing a shift in how you perceive your own capabilities. You've moved away from being a passenger to your immediate desires. You are now someone who can recognize an internal signal and consciously decide whether to act on it. Repeatedly denying a primal impulse physically rewires your brain's default response. You transition from weathering a temporary 30-day challenge into operating under a permanent psychological framework of discipline. Arriving at day 30 is a milestone, but it doesn't mean you have achieved human perfection or that you will never face an internal struggle again. What you have achieved is concrete evidence of agency. If you can navigate the physiological pressure of your own reward system resetting, you have developed the mechanism to handle nearly any other impulse, whether it's the distraction of a notification or the urge to procrastinate. Look back at the last 30 days and ask yourself, do you control your mind or does your mind control you? The value of this 30-day process is the practical experience of choosing your response. You finish the month no longer reacting to your chemistry, but acting in spite of it.